It's your boy Dragon Hunter Zero here today with a Gallantmon deck profile. This is the trial deck Gallantmon slash BT1 Gallantmon. I kind of just wanted to build something, seeing as though EX-02, it was revealed that we're getting Crimson mode. So this is just kind of like a pseudo build for the time being. There will be a lot of changes when that comes out, even though we have a lot of time for it to come out in America. I was thinking about getting the Japanese cards or copies of the Japanese cards so I could play test it that way. Also, possibly play testing with a tabletop simulator. I'm working on getting that up so I can start streaming playing tabletop with people and things of that nature. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. So at the moment, I play the one BT. I think this is one. No, this is BT2. Excuse me. The BT2 Gigimon, and then I'll play 4 Demi-Meramon. Only because I like the other Gigimon, but it depends on Digimon being deleted, and I just like the fact that when I swing into a player, I gain 1000 DP. So that's why I play 4 Demi-Meramon. But I might change the ratio to it being like maybe 3 Demi-Meramon, 1 from the deck, and then 1 Gigimon from here. It's just like I said, right now I prefer having 4 copies of Demi-Meramon. On with our rookies, I play 4 copies of Giyumon, 2 copies of Monodramon. Yeah, I only play 2 copies I play 2 copies of Monodramon mainly because he's cost effective. It's a hard play. Then I play 4 copies of 8 copies of Agumon. Mainly because I would have played the BT2 Giyumon, but that requires your opponent to have an amount of cards in trash. I believe it's 5 to gain 1000 DP, which is why I play this Agumon. And I would always play this Agumon because when I swing at an opponent, he gains 2000 for the turn. So I just, like I said, I like the power creep. But yeah, I play this Agumon instead of the Giyumon, which I know the anniversary Giyumon's out, which allows you to draw a card. I just kind of like the inheritable effect just a little bit more. But if I did make any changes, I'd probably take 2 of these out and put that Giyumon in. And definitely when the EX-02 Gallantmon comes out, I will be making a drastic amount of changes. This Giyumon's cool. He gets the Warp Digivolve ability. And also, when an opponent's card is deleted, I believe you draw one. I don't have my glasses on, so I can barely see. Yeah, opponent's card's deleted, draw one. So I'm going based off of memory for the most part. Because like I said, I don't have my glasses on. But anyway, on to our champions. I play 11. And like I said, right now, this is kind of a more aggressive build. Mainly because EX-02 isn't out yet. So I only play two blockers. I play 2 Monochromon because I don't plan on needing to bring him out really at all. 4 copies of Greymon for the security plus 1 inheritable. 3 copies of Dark Tyranno because he's cost efficient. 6 to hard play, but 1 to digivolve into, just like Monochromon. Which again, I could put another, I could replace that with a Monochromon. Like I said, I kind of don't want to rely on blockers with this deck build at the moment. The way I want to do it is just like it's more aggressive. Get to Gallantmon and kill, basically. That's how I want to play it. So yeah, and then from there, I play 2 copies of Growlmon. His ability is once per turn when opponent's Digimon is deleted, you gain a memory. So yeah, I play 2 copies of him, which, like I said, I could replace one of the Dark Tyrannos with another Growlmon. It's just right now, I kind of feel like 2 is the perfect number, especially, like I said, with EX-02 coming out. All of this is subject to change. Everything in the deck is subject to change when EX-02 comes out, because I got to find room from Crimson mode. I got to find a room for the other Gallantmon, because he power creeps on deletion, and he's just too good to not have an amount of copies. But Crimson mode plays into the BT-02 Gallantmon, which means I want to play at least that, at least one copy of that. So like I said, I got to figure out the ratios for that, optimize a good build. But yeah, on to our ultimates. I play 3 copies of Rosgreymon and 4 copies of Wargrowlmon. Rosgreymon Digiburst 2. Play a tamer for free. I think it's a 4 cost. And then while you have a tamer in play, you choose an opponent's Digimon. They lose 2,000 DP. And then Growlmon, he deletes an opponent's Digimon with 3,000 DP or less. So, it kills like rookies and things of that nature. And also, it's once per turn. When your opponent's Digimon's deleted, you gain a security attack. So, like I said, it's still the more hyper aggressive play. The line would be something like Agumon, Growlmon, Wargrowl, and
Into the dark, Jay let out a terrible shriek from deep within the basement. I took a deep breath to steady my nerves and descended. It was more normal than I might have expected. Rows and rows of shelves had been laid out and filled with the usual rubbish that Mr. Rickle enjoyed so much. Jars of fermenting medical curiosities, boxes of stolen Christmas decorations, ornamental gnomes with mud still caked on their feet. There was nothing down there that, at first glance, might be responsible for Jay's disappearance. But that earthen chamber was bigger than I first thought. The first room was typical in size, but one corner was a jagged hole cut into the soil, which led into another, similarly sized room. And then there was another, and another, and another.
Digivolution, and that'll proc Growlmon, War Growlmon, and then when you swing at a player with the Agumon, he becomes, what's that, 13? 13k DP plus however many extra security attacks. And his other effect, for every 10 cards in your opponent's trash, you trash the top of their security. It's a really good card, like I said. Like I said, when EX-02 drops, I kind of want to, change everything around. And then from there, I play 3 of the trial deck, Gallantmon, which he gains security attack +1 off rip. And when attacking, I can delete a Digimon with, I believe that's...
And took a photo of the basement. Unlike before, it did not show me anything at all like the place I was standing in. In fact, this was a perfect replica of the very first painting I found in the manor. I had come to understand that the camera showed an alternate, or perhaps future, version of the place I stood. But if it did, then nothing about this last picture made any sense. I took another and grimaced to see that the painted figure had somehow appeared in the doorway of the church. Nothing about it corresponded to my location, and I came to realize that if the camera had any kind of logical rules, it wasn't anything I could understand. Feeling all hope wane, I took one last photo and saw that the painted figure had lunged forward, moving closer to the camera's point of view.
And I might, like I said, it would probably be like a 1-1 thing. So it'd be like 1 Megidra, 1 Chaos Gallant, or 2 Megidra, 1 Chaos Gallant. I just haven't figured out that perfect ratio just yet. Or it might just be 2 Megidramon, because it kind of doesn't matter. Trash top 5 when he gets deleted. Bring out a Gallantmon, and yeah. And then for the last of the Digimon, I played 2 copies of Blitz Omnimon. And this is definitely going to go. This is probably going to be Crimson Mode's place. I don't know if I want to play 2 or 4 of him yet, but with the Takato card, he gives everything with Growl or Gallantmon in this name Blitz. So that works for EX-02 Megidramon because he counts as Chaos Gallant. Works for Chaos Gallant. Works for Gallantmon, Growlmon, anything. You just get a free Blitz. So, yeah, like I said, this deck list is subject to change. But that's it for the Digimon. And then we'll go to our Tamers, which I only played 3. And there's 3 copies of Tai Kamiya. for the free security +1 and to keep my memory at very least 3. Um, then onto our option cards, I play 2 copies of Red Memory Boost. Um, yeah, 2 copies of Red Memory Boost. It's search top 4 for a red Digimon. Place the rest of the bottom of the deck, stays in the battle area, and delay gain 2 memory. I don't want to play too many of these because, like I said, while I do have deletion options for those memory starvers like Terriermon and Gazimon and things like that, if I don't have it when these are out, then it doesn't matter. So I kind of, like I said, I just want to leave it at 2. Then I play 2 copies of Lightning Joust for the extra security attack and the extra 2k DP. I was thinking about putting in Judgment of the Blade because it works. It'll give the ability to swing on unsuspended Digimon, but I don't really have anything with piercing, so it kind of doesn't matter. But like I said, this Lightning Joust is a really good card. I could play Atomic Blaster to kill things with, like tie things up with the maximum of, I think it's 8k DP, and they all get deleted. But I kind of want to hold off on that until EX-02 drops, because then, like I said, the power creep with deletion is just great. And then for the last 4 cards, I play 2 copies of Gaia Force, self-explanatory, and 2 copies of A Delicate Plan because everyone's playing some form of security control these days. So the idea would be, let's say I bring out the Gallantmon, delete a 6k, gain a memory. Let's say, for example, I have this and these 2. So the Gallantmon will cost 4, let's say it. So I was at 3. Let's say starting at 3 memory. My let's see. Let's just I'm gonna make some random shit up. Um,
Holding it still, I saw that something unsheathed from the very flesh itself, sliding out from between Jay's finger bones, pushing muscle and bone aside like tenderized meat, was one of the spidery legs belonging to the mask. Horrified at the thought of it touching me, I threw the thing aside and let it tumble back down the stairs. By the time Jay's corpse had risen, more of the legs had pushed through the skin of his limbs, and the cohesion of his body was giving way. The more this thing moved Jay around like a meat suit, the more it tore him apart. But at least I had a clear route to the exit, and I fled to the second set of stairs, desperately hoping that this thing would be too slow. But somewhere along the way, I got lost again. And sure enough, the clicking sound of my chaser was never far behind. I'm still not sure exactly what happened, but somewhere in the basement, I passed the
um, delete.
before my brain registered the sight, and my footfall slowed to a stop, almost as if my brain acted without my conscious intervention. I came to a stumbling halt and glanced backwards to confirm I'd really seen what the flashing images in my mind suggested. Mr. Riddle sat at a small workspace, smiling to himself as I ran past. Good evening, he said politely when I stopped and faced him. Upon his lap was a pile of lifeless metallic legs sprayed outward like a crab's. To his left, he had placed a porcelain mask that had been delicately removed from one of the spiders. Without looking up from his work, he reached out and placed a small screw into alignment with a dozen others. Then, reaching into the machine's gut, he began to turn a large, winding handle that clicked with each jerk and twist of his wrist. Each rotation,
Implying that your opponent has 10 security.
he looked up, only when the thing that chased me stumbled into view, stopping momentarily to glare at me, and then at Mr. Riddle. Psst, Mr. Riddle chirped, as if luring a cat from some bushes. Come here now, give it up. Carefully, he patted the space beside him, and the monstrosity scuttled over and sat down in an awkward hunch. Now, he said, turning to me, something you ought to know in your profession. Sometimes it's not a hoarder's house, but rather it's a house that hoards. Some buildings don't just exist in one time or place, and they are filled with things that come from all over creation. Do you understand? dangerous things, fun things, all of them unique. Silently, he gestured to Jay's twitching corpse. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, that's it for the deck profile. If you like the deck, if you have any comments.
Running for my life. That is the first intelligent thing you've done since stepping inside this place. The old man yelled after me, his voice breaking into a bellowing chuckle